Be'ezer Hashem, we will try to give a kitzer, a synopsis, or a overview of the sicha of this week's dvar malchus, Shabbos, parshat emor, chaf iyar, hey tinasei, tavshinun aleph. This farbrengen is clearly a hemshech, a continuation of last Shabbos, of Achri Kedoshim. In that farbrengen, the theme of the farbrengen was Migoyla Legeula, where the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach explains that in essence, the only difference between Galus and Geula is putting in the Aleph in the middle of the word. And by doing so, the Aleph representing Hashem, Alufoi Shaloilam, that reveals and it transforms Galus, the world as we know it, into Geula. And that's the whole Sikha, and he elaborates on that. Then, in this Shabbos Sikha, the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach takes that point and continues and expounds on that. He explains that Aleph, the word Aleph, the letter Aleph, which is a word, Aleph Lamed Fei, actually has three taichin, three definitions. One, as explained last week, Alufoi Shaloilam, the chief, the master of the whole world, Hashem. And then we have a second explanation, and that is Aleph, which comes from the word Ulpina, as in the pasuk Aleph Chachma, Aleph Chabina, which some of you may be familiar with that from the Bar Mitzvah Maimer, which means to learn or to teach. And the third one, the same letters, Pele, which means beyond, something which is absolutely amazing and wondrous. So in the beginning of the Sikha, the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach explains why we use this word of Geula when there are other words, like we have the four lashonos of Geula, and then we have the fifth lashon, Vaytzeisi, Vitzalti, Vigoalti, Vilokachti, and Vevesi. And it's after the word Vigoalti, Geula, that we use. So he explains about Yetzias Mitzrayim, how it wasn't just merely to get out of Mitzrayim, to escape from Mitzrayim, but it was actually to transform Mitzrayim. And the whole Golus Mitzrayim, which culminated in the Geula and the redemption from Mitzrayim, is all about elevating the Nitzutzei Kedusha. And that's why it was so important that we took out of Mitzrayim the various different things, Gashmias, and of course the Ruchnias. And from that Geula, from the first and the original Geula, we can learn with regards to every Geula, and especially, ultimately, to the Geula at hand right now, the Geula Hamitis Vashleima. As we currently find ourselves, in the words of the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach in this Sikha, Erev HaGeula. We're on the eve, we're on the threshold, we're right there holding just before the Geula. Now, in this process that we're in right now, so we have to have all of these three things. And throughout the Sikha, the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach explains these three inyanim of the Aleph. Aluf Shaloilam, Hashem being the master of the world, the Alepcha, the learning, the study of Torah, and then the Pele. And he explains it in many different ways, but that's the Nekuda. And Moshiach himself, who is the Goyel, the Redeemer, has these three inyanim. And likewise, every single Yid who has a nitzutz of Mashiach in him, a spark of Mashiach, and everything that we do now is what causes all of these revelations, all of these Giluyim in the time of the Geula. So very briefly, each one of these three things. Number one, Aluf Shaloilam. That means that in the worldly matters, in Olam Hazeh, in this physical world, to bring in, to reveal that it's Aluf Shaloilam, that Hashem is the chief. He's the master. He's the creator. He's the one that runs the world. And bring in and reveal in this world that it's all about Hashem. So we're dealing with the world. From within the world, with the world, in the world, elevating the world. Just like it was by Mitzrayim. But then we get to a higher level. And that's through Limud HaTorah. that not only are we revealing that Hashem is in the world, but we're actually connecting it to Hashem directly. That's the Hashem's Torah. But within the Torah itself, we then have Pnimius HaTorah, the innermost part of the Torah, and that is the Pele. That is that which is beyond. And in Spherois, he explains it, that the first level of Alufa Shaloilam, that would be malchus. Malchus is the last and the final of all the spheres, and malchus is that which brings all of the midos into actuality. So that's basically the idea of midos, of a person's attributes, of a person's character traits, of a person's feelings, and then of course the way it is by Hashem. Then taking it a step higher, the a'alefcha, the learning, the study, alefcha chachma alecha bina. That's chachma and bina. That would be moichin. That's intellect. But intellect, the way it's connected to the midos, the way it's connected to the world. And then you have the highest level, pele, which is keser, and especially pnimius hakeser. That's the highest of everything. Now, a yid is supposed to do these three things. So, level number one, practically speaking, everything you do has to be done for the sake of Hashem. In this world, reveal how everything of this world and all of your behavior and all of your conduct and everything is all to reveal Hashem. Then take it a level higher. And that is by devoting yourself to learning Torah. But especially to learn Pnimius HaTorah. And here the moshiach connects it to Lag Boimer, which Lag Boimer, Rabbi, is the one who actually took down the barrier, took down the mechitza between the nigle, the revealed part of the Torah, and Pnimius HaTorah, and brought them together. But then generations later, that came even stronger. And the Arizal, in his time already, he really revealed much more of Pnimius HaTorah. And then after that came the Baal Shem Tov and the Mezritcher Magid, and then, in a way like never before, came along the Alter Rebbe, followed by all of the Rabbeim, Rabbi Seinu Nesienu, the ones which are the Memalamokim of the Alter Rebbe, up until our generation. Where now, in our generation, we have Pnimius HaTorah so revealed because we're holding right before Moshiach. And just like Yetzias Mitzrayim, going back to that, was a preparation, and from there we got to Matan Torah. So too, this Geula brings us to the greatest and deepest revelations of the most hidden secrets of Torah, which couldn't be revealed until Mashiach. And ultimately, it's the Torah Chadasha Meiti Teitze, from Mashiach himself. Now, in this Sikha, the Rebbe Mashiach says it's towards the end of the Sikha, and it's almost as if he puts it in such a simple way, but it's a tremendous, tremendous chidush. If we may refer to it as, it's a bomb. It's amazing to say such a thing. The Rebbe Mashiach, after he mentions Pnimius HaTorah and Rashbi, then he quotes from Tanya, and then he says, mentioning Tanya, that now, where we're holding at the end of Golus, after everything, so we're holding now, and he uses Tanya, but the Alter Rebbe is kind of making a shift. The Rebbe Mashiach, rather, is making a shift from the Alter Rebbe. As we know, Tanya is Tefer Shel Beinanim, but the Alter Rebbe starts off right at the beginning of Tanya, beginning of Perek Aleph, quoting the Shvuah, the oath, that every single Yid takes before he comes down into Elam Hazeh, that Tei Tzadik v'al Tehi Rasha. So it's not enough that we do the avoid of Sur Meira, to stay away from evil, but part of the Shvuah is Tehi Tzadik. Now, of course, the Alter Rebbe explains the reason for the double language of the Shvuah, that not everybody is able to actually be a Tzadik. So at least, I'll call upon him, don't be a Rasha. And the Alter Rebbe in the beginning of Perek Yudalit in Tanya says that not everyone can be a tzaddik, but everyone can be a Beinani. And of course, Alter Rebbe defines what a tzaddik is, what a Beinani is. In this Sikha, the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach, quoting parts of Tanya, from the first prakim, where the Alter Rebbe says that it could happen sometimes that a person might be zoiche, that yare alav ruach mimorim, and he might be zoiche shetis abreboy minishmas ez a tzaddik, and it's possible for a person who wasn't born with an neshama of being able to be a tzaddik, and maybe he could become a tzaddik. The Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach in this Sicha, in Tov Shinun Aleph, is telling us that now every single Yid is able to become a tzaddik, begilui. The only thing is that when we really get to the Gula Mitzvah Shlema, then it'll be b'shleimus hagilui. And as many things that the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach is telling us in these Sichas of Nun Aleph and then into Nun Beis, that all of these Giluyim is where we're holding it right now. So it's a tremendous, tremendous chidush in our Avodas Hashem that a Yid now needs to know that he is able to attain the level of a tzaddik of Tanya. So that meant one thing. We say it in Pirkei Avos now on all these Shabbos. But now the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach is saying that it can be taken literally. And that which the Alter Rebbe said in Tanya, now everybody's holding by the level of a tzaddik. So the Hirah L'Poyel is, as we mentioned, supposed to be dealing with matters of Olam Hazeh in a way of Shem Shamayim, etc., and to learn Torah, especially Pnimis HaTorah, and to do an Afatzas HaMayonis, and to get other people, to influence others, to learn Chassidus, to learn as well, in such a way that should affect them to the Geula. That we go into the Geula Mitzvah Shlema, and this is going to happen immediately. The Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach concludes with Yehi Ratzon, that by us doing our avodah of putting in the Aleph into Geula and transforming it into Geula, then we actually come to the Geula Mitzvah Shlema, the Pashtus. Yehi Adonenu Meirenu V'Rabbeinu Melech HaMoshiach Le'elam V'ed.